pattern has ruined more lives than almost anything else I can name. People decide they want something. They want to lose weight. They want to make more money. They want to write a book. They want to build a business. And the first thing they do, the very first thing, is they set a goal. They write down the number. They put a date on it. They tell their friends. They make a plan. They are going to lose 40 pounds by June. They are going to double their income by next year. They are going to finish the book by Christmas. And then, somewhere between week 3 and week 6, the goal quietly dies. The plan falls apart. The number isn't getting hit. The date is going to come and go. And the person who set the goal sits in their disappointment and tries to figure out what went wrong. They blame their willpower. They blame their schedule. They blame circumstances. They tell themselves that they'll try again next January. But none of that is what went wrong. Here's the truth. They didn't fail because the goal was wrong. They failed because they had it backwards. They tried to install the goal before they built the habit. They built the destination before they built the road. They wrote the postcard before they laid the bricks. And a goal without a habit underneath it is a wish, dressed up in a deadline. It cannot survive. It was never going to survive. Today, I want to talk to you about why you must build the habit before you build the goal, why this order matters more than almost anything else you can learn about getting what you want out of life, and why the people you watch achieve big things aren't doing some magic version of goal setting you don't know about. They are simply doing the order correctly, while everybody else does it backwards. Now, before we get into it, I want you to understand the cost of doing this backwards, because most people don't realize what their goal-setting habit is actually doing to them. They think it's producing energy. They think it's producing focus. They think it's moving their life forward. But underneath, something else is happening that nobody talks about. You see, every goal you set and then fail to achieve trains you to distrust yourself. Every January resolution that died in February, every "this year is going to be different" speech you gave yourself that ended up exactly like last year. Every plan you wrote down and watched yourself abandon, all of those count. They add up. And by the time you are 40, you have a long history with yourself of setting goals and watching them collapse. That history is not neutral. That history shapes how you respond to yourself the next time you try. You start to flinch. You set a smaller goal because you don't believe you'll actually do the big one. You write the goal down quietly instead of telling anybody, because you've learned that the announcement and the failure both come. And the failure is worse than the goal not having been spoken. You become somebody who, deep down, doesn't really believe their own intentions anymore. And that distrust, the distrust of your own word to yourself, is the worst thing that can happen to a person who wants to build a life that matters. And here's the truth. It compounds. You become smaller because of it. You aim lower because of it. And the version of you that was supposed to be reaching higher gets quieter and quieter until eventually you stop hearing it altogether. Ask yourself this. How many goals have you set in the last 10 years? How many of them did you hit? If the percentage is low, and for most people it's very low, you got to understand that every miss has been training you to expect failure, training you to set smaller, training you to keep your real ambitions hidden, even from yourself, because at some point the disappointment of trying and failing felt worse than the dullness of not trying. You must stop setting goals the way you have been setting them. Not because goals are bad, they're not, but because you have to earn the right to set a goal. And you earn it by building the habit first. Then and only then does the goal mean anything. Because by the time you have the habit, the goal is not something you are reaching for. It is something you are already on the path to, and the path makes the difference. Let's start with the most fundamental thing you have to understand. A goal is a destination. A habit is the road that takes you there. And most people, when they set goals, are doing the equivalent of picking a destination without checking if there is a road. They look at the place they want to go. They imagine themselves there. They get excited about the picture in their head, and they never once stop to ask whether the path from where they are to where they want to be actually exists. Here's the truth. The goal you set tells you nothing about how you are going to get there. The goal is the picture. The habit is the engine. And if you don't have the engine, no amount of looking at the picture is going to move you. The person who wants to lose 50 pounds, and the person who wants to write a book, and the person who wants to double their income all face the same underlying question. What is the daily thing I am going to do every single day, regardless of how I feel, that will, over time, get me from here to there? If you can't answer that question with a specific habit, you don't have a plan. You have a wish, and you cannot wish your way to anything that matters. You can only habit your way there. And wishes do not produce results. Wishes produce disappointment. The number of people in the world who have wished for something, who have written it down in a journal, who have made a vision board, who have manifested it with their thoughts, and never gotten it, is essentially everybody. Because wishing isn't the mechanism. The habit is the mechanism. You see, the human being is a slow-moving creature when it comes to real change. The body changes slowly. The mind changes slowly. The bank account changes slowly. Anything worth having takes years of small daily inputs. And those daily inputs are the habit. Without them, the destination might as well not exist. With them, the destination is just a question of time. You build the road. The road carries you. The destination arrives. That is the whole pattern. And every single day you do the habit, you are laying another foot of road. Here's the move. The next time you set a goal, any goal, your second sentence after stating the goal must be a habit. Not a plan, not a strategy. A daily, repeatable action. I want to lose 40 pounds. And I'm going to walk 30 minutes every single morning starting Monday. That is a complete thought. The first half is the destination. The second half is the road. Most people only ever say the first half. They never get to the road. And without the road, the destination is just a postcard on the refrigerator. Now let's look at why most goals fail in the first 3 weeks. It is not that the goal was too big. People can do extraordinary things. The problem is that the goal was wildly larger than the daily reality of the person who set it. The gap between what they did yesterday and what they need to do tomorrow is so enormous that the mind cannot bridge it. Take the person who has been sedentary for 10 years and decides on January 1st that they are going to run a marathon. The goal itself is fine. People run marathons. But the gap between somebody who doesn't move at all and somebody who runs 26 miles is 1,000 small bridges, and the person standing at the start doesn't have any of them built. So they try to bridge it all at once. They go for a run on January 2nd. They go for a run on January 3rd. By January 5th, they are sore and tired and discouraged. By January 10th, the running has stopped, and the goal is in the drawer with all the others. The mistake was not the goal. The mistake was the assumption that you could go from a life that contained no version of the goal to a life that fully contained it overnight. Real change does not work that way. You cannot jump the gap all at once. But here's the truth. The gap can be bridged. The bridge has to be built one plank at a time. The first plank is a habit so small it cannot fail. A 10-minute walk, then a 20-minute walk, then a slow jog, then a faster jog, and so on for months, until the person who is now jogging 4 miles 3 times a week is a different person than the one who started. And that person can begin to think about the marathon. The same is true in every domain. The person who wants to double their income, but currently has no habit of working on their highest value activity, isn't going to double their income by setting the goal. They're going to double it by installing the habit of working on the right thing every single day for 2 hours, and then watching what compounds over time. The person who wants to write a book but has never written anything isn't going to finish the book by setting the deadline. They are going to finish it by writing 200 words a day, every day, until 20 months have passed and the book exists. The habit is what closes the gap. The habit is the bridge. And the smaller the habit is at the start, the more likely you are to actually walk across it. You got to pick a habit you can do today in your current life without rearranging anything dramatic. That habit, repeated, is what installs the trajectory. The trajectory is what closes the gap, and the gap closes whether you are paying attention to the goal or not. Here's the third thing you have to understand. Goals are about outputs. Habits are about identity. And identity is what makes the difference between somebody who hits the goal and somebody who doesn't. Because the person who has been running every morning for 2 years isn't somebody who is trying to be a runner. They are a runner. The habit became the identity, and the identity is what carries them through the days when they don't feel like running. You see, motivation is not a renewable resource. It comes and goes. Some days you wake up feeling like you can take on the world. Other days you wake up feeling like you can't get out of bed. If you are relying on motivation to hit your goal, you are going to hit your goal on the good days and miss it on the bad days. And the bad days outnumber the good days. So the goal stays incomplete. But identity does not depend on motivation. Identity is what you do when motivation has left the room. And identity is built by repetition. Every time you do the thing you said you were going to do, even on the day when you don't want to, you cast a vote for who you are becoming. You vote for the version of yourself that does the work, regardless, and the votes accumulate. You got to cast that vote every single day, especially on the days when it feels like nobody is counting. Because the votes don't count themselves. They count when you show up. Over time, you are no longer somebody who is trying to be a writer or a runner or a saver or a builder. You are somebody who simply is those things. The trying has dropped out. The identity has set in. I am telling you, the moment your identity shifts, the goal becomes almost incidental. The runner who has been running every morning for 10 years isn't thinking about whether they will run tomorrow. They are going to run tomorrow. The question is settled. The saver who has been putting money aside every payday for 20 years isn't deciding each time whether to save. The decision was made once, a long time ago, and the habit has carried it ever since. Their financial life is built on a foundation that doesn't require fresh willpower every month. This is why the habit beats the goal every single time. The goal is a target you are aiming at. The identity is who you are when you wake up. The target moves around. It shrinks when you fail. It grows when you succeed. It stays out of reach if you can't hit it. But the identity, once built, is permanent. It walks into rooms with you. It makes decisions for you. It picks your food, your schedule, your conversations, your work. The identity is the engine that produces everything else. And the only way to build the identity is by doing the habit every single day until it stops being a thing you do and becomes a thing you are. You don't have to motivate the writer to write. The writer just writes. You don't have to motivate the saver to save. The saver just saves. The identity does the work for you every single day without asking permission. Now I want to tell you about somebody, because this is the part where most people need a story to actually believe what I am saying. I once knew a young man who wanted, more than anything, to write a novel. He had wanted to write a novel since he was 19 years old. By the time he was 32, he had set the goal at least 10 different times. Every year in January or in September or in the middle of summer when the urge would come back, he would announce to himself and sometimes to others, "This is the year. I am going to write the novel. I am going to finish it by Christmas." And every year the same thing happened. He would start, he would write for 2 weeks. He would lose momentum. He would tell himself the story wasn't working, the structure wasn't right, the timing was bad. By March, the novel was in the drawer with the previous 9 attempts. And he would tell himself that next year would be different. He had a long history with himself, by this point, of telling himself that next year would be different. Next year was never different. Next year was always the same, because every year he set the goal and never built the habit underneath it. One day he came to me, exhausted. He said, "I don't know what is wrong with me. I have wanted this for 13 years. Why can I not do it?" And I asked him a simple question. I said, "When you set the goal to write the novel, what did you actually decide to do every day?" And he couldn't answer the question. He thought about it for a while. He said, "I guess I was going to write whenever I had time, whenever the inspiration hit, whenever it felt right." I told him, "That is your problem. You have never set a habit. You have only set a goal, and the goal can't survive on its own. So here's what I want you to do. Stop trying to write the novel. Stop thinking about the novel. Stop putting the novel on your calendar. Just sit down every morning at 6 o'clock and write 200 words about anything. The novel, your grocery list, a memory, a complaint, 200 words. Every morning. Don't think about the novel." He looked at me like I was crazy. 200 words is nothing, he said. That is one paragraph. How is that going to produce a novel? I told him. You let me worry about the novel. You worry about the 200 words. And he agreed to do it. Just to humor me, I think. 3 months later, he came back. He said, "The strangest thing has happened. I have been writing 200 words a day, every single day. Sometimes a lot more. Sometimes I write for 2 hours after the 200 words because I cannot stop. I have 18,000 words of something that might be a book. I have not missed a day." He looked stunned. He said, "I don't understand why this is working when nothing else ever did." I told him, "You stopped trying to hit the goal. You started building the habit, and the habit is producing the goal as a byproduct." He finished the novel a year later. He published it. He started another one. He told me years later that the only thing that ever actually worked in his life was that one shift. Stop chasing the outcome. Build the habit. Watch the outcome arrive on its own. He could not name a single goal he had hit by chasing it. But he could name every meaningful thing in his life that had come from a habit he had stuck with for long enough. Listen, that is the whole pattern. The goals you chased gave you nothing. The habits you kept gave you everything. He had been alive 40 years before he learned that. Don't be 40 before you learn it yourself. Here's the fifth thing you have to understand. The habit you start with should be smaller than you think it needs to be. Most people sabotage themselves at the starting line by picking a habit that is too ambitious. They want to write 1,000 words a day, not 200. They want to walk an hour a day, not 10 minutes. They want to read 50 pages a day, not 5. The big habit feels more impressive. The big habit feels like it is going to actually do something. So they pick the big habit. And the big habit dies in week 2, the same way the goal would have died in week 3. Here's the truth. The size of the habit at the start has almost nothing to do with whether you achieve the goal. What matters is whether you can do the habit every single day for years without interruption. And the habit you can do for years is almost always smaller than the one that sounded right at the start. 200 words a day for 2 years is 140,000 words. That is 2 novels. 1,000 words a day for 2 weeks before you quit is 14,000 words. That is nothing. The small habit that survives produces more over time than the big habit that doesn't. You see, the math of habits is the math of compounding. Small daily inputs, repeated, produce shocking results over time. The mistake is thinking that bigger daily inputs produce more shocking results. They do not. Because bigger daily inputs collapse. The whole system collapses. And the small daily input that survives produces more over years than the big daily input that lasted 3 weeks. Pick a habit so small you can't fail, so small that even on your worst day, the day you're exhausted, the day you're sick, the day everything fell apart, you can still do it. 200 words instead of 2,000. 10 minutes instead of an hour. 5 pages instead of 50. The smallness is not a compromise. The smallness is the design. You are designing a habit that will survive whatever life throws at it. Because the habit that survives is the only kind that produces results. Listen, the size at the start is irrelevant. The survival is everything. You must design for survival first. Performance second. Once the small habit is in place, and by in place I mean it has been running, uninterrupted for at least 3 months, then you can think about making it bigger, slowly, carefully. The 200 words becomes 300, then 400, then 5. But only after the small version has proven it can survive in your life. The small version is the foundation. You can add on top of it later, but you must build the foundation first. The foundation, always the foundation, because everything you build on top of nothing collapses. And everything you build on top of a real foundation, no matter how small that foundation is, stands. Now, I want to tell you what this looks like in practice, because it is actually very simple, almost embarrassingly simple. And once you start doing it, you are going to wonder how you ever lived any other way. You start with the goal, not because the goal is the work. It isn't. But because the goal tells you what habit to build. So you write it down. You want to lose 40 pounds. You want to make $150,000 next year. You want to finish the book. You want to read 50 books this year. Whatever it is, you write it down. And then you got to do the second thing, which is the part everybody skips. You ask yourself, what is the daily habit that if I did it for the next 2 years would produce this goal as a byproduct? Not what is the plan, not what is the strategy. What is the one daily action that repeated produces this outcome? For the weight loss, it is probably walking 30 minutes every morning plus drinking only water at meals. For the income, it is probably 2 hours every morning on the work that actually generates revenue before doing anything else. For the book, it is 200 words a day. For the reading, it is 20 pages every night before bed. And then, this is the part. You forget the goal. You put it in a drawer. You stop talking about it. You stop visualizing it. You stop checking your progress against it. You take the goal out of your daily life entirely. And you focus every single day on doing the habit. Just the habit. The habit is the only thing you measure. The habit is the only thing you check. The habit is the only thing you are responsible for. 3 months in, you haven't lost the weight. You haven't made the money. You haven't finished the book. The goal is still in the drawer. But the habit has been running for 90 days without interruption. And here's what has happened underneath the surface. You have started becoming the person who does the habit. The habit has been laying down the trajectory. The destination, even though you have not been looking at it, has been getting closer. A year in, you take the goal out of the drawer. You look at it, and you realize the strangest thing. The goal is happening. Not because you chased it, but because you built the road under it. The road has carried you every day in the direction of the destination, without you having to think about the destination at all. By month 6, the people around you start to notice something is different. They can't quite name it, but they see the shift. By month 9, you start to see it yourself. And when you arrive, you won't be able to point to the moment you arrived. The arrival will have been gradual and inevitable and almost invisible, because the road did the work. The road always does the work. You just had to lay it. So here's what I want you to carry with you. There is a version of you that has been setting goals for years and watching them collapse. That version means well. That version really wants the things they are aiming at. But that version has been doing it backwards, and they can't understand why. They have been told their whole life that goals are how you build a life. Nobody told them that habits are how you build the goals. And so they have been chasing destinations on a road that was never built. And the destinations have stayed exactly where they always were, out of reach. You can stop being that version. You can become somebody who, the next time they want something out of life, asks the second question. Not just what do I want, but what is the daily action that if I do it for the next 2 years will get me there? You can become somebody who builds the habit first, who lets the habit run for 90 days before they let themselves think about the goal again, who lays the road plank by plank until the destination is just a question of time. I'm telling you, the version of you who does this is going to look very different from the version that doesn't. 5 years from now, the goal setter will still be setting goals, still failing, still wondering why nothing changes. The habit builder will have been quietly building. They won't have given themselves a lot of credit along the way. They won't have made announcements. They will just have done the small thing every single day for a long time. And the results will have arrived without fanfare. That is the order. Habit first, goal second. The habit produces the goal. The goal does not produce the habit. Once you understand that, you have the keys to almost everything you ever wanted out of your life. Because the question is no longer, what do you want? You must answer that question with a habit, not a hope. The question is, what habit are you willing to build? And the day you can answer that question and start the habit today, every single day for the next 2 years, is the day you start becoming the person who actually gets what they want. Most people never get there. They stay on the wishing side of the line. But the few who cross over, the few who learn to put the habit first, get almost everything they ever wanted. Become one of them.